Let's get the read right now from Heather Zumaraga and Scott Martin, who've been monitoring all this very, very closely. Guys, we've put to bed a quarter that was expected to be bad as soon as this corona thing began to accelerate. It confirmed that. Heather, the bigger issue now is how consumers react to it. And right now, they're pulling in. They're retrenching. How long do you see this happen?
Right. They're retrenching, but not that long ago, the consumer was very strong, and the only reason they're retrenching is because businesses are shut down right now due to the unfortunate situation, to say the least, of the virus spreading. So 60% of GDP in this country is comprised of the states that are shut down right now. So no bars, no restaurants, you can't go out. We are social distancing, and we should be. But that is why the consumer is pulling back. It's not necessarily because we have a weak economy. It's because we can't go out and spend. But I do think that the unemployment situation will become a problem, may become a problem very soon.
Scott Martin, one of the interesting, Goldman Sachs and a number of the big, investment firms are saying, and stating the obvious, it's awful this quarter. We get that. They're saying that this could be short-lived, though, that even with the plunge that we could see GDP fall about 30 to 35%, the number of unemployed Americans could rise to 47 million, that they do anticipate a sharp rebound once this whole virus thing is resolved. Do you agree with that?
Well, it never hurts to hope, Neil. I think we all hope for the best in that case, the quote-unquote V-shaped recovery. But to touch on a lot of things Heather said, I mean, I think, and as you kind of let in there in the original speech parts, was what's really the fallout here? How deep does this go? Because as we see in previous recessions, Neil, some of the jobs that are eliminated, some of the businesses that go out don't come back. So there's going to be some destruction, and there's going to be some areas of the economy that, frankly, are just gone. So we have to deal with that and hope that, say, green shoots grow up from those ashes, let's say, at some point down the road in Q3 or Q4. And that goes along with two things. One, getting medically over this virus for certain, and making sure, too, that the Fed and the government has stimulated this economy enough to where it's safe to go back in the water and create a business.
Well, that reminds me then, Heather, what's going on in China. Now, I know it's a little dangerous to believe the numbers that China releases, sort of like my diet statements. People begin to roll their eyes and say, yeah, fine. But one of the things that the Chinese have been saying is that they're through the worst of it. They already are opening up a number of factories. Of the 60 million that were sort of cordoned off from the world, more are being allowed to roam freely, go back to work, do what they want to do. Now, I'm thinking of that 2 to 3 month lead time that China had over us and wondering if that's the arc. If 2 to 3 months from now, the same thing, maybe hopefully sooner, will be happening here. What do you think?
Well, I think that would be great. You look at Italy, they're finally getting their arms around the situation as well, but their economy is still shut down. So I think 2 to 3 months would be a situation in which we could weather the storm. Look, the American public right now is depending greatly on fiscal stimulus and monetary policy coming out of the Fed, which is pledged unlimited support right now. So I think it's now ultimately up to us in terms of personal responsibility. Also, you have to reinvent yourself. Look, we're broadcasting via Skype right now. So, I mean, there are ways embracing technology. There are other companies that are hiring, Walmart, Amazon, for example. So it may not be the optimal job choice for you or a situation working from home, for example, but if we can embrace this and keep some of the jobs, and small businesses are first and foremost, and the government is doing everything they can to help foot the bill with some of the small businesses right now. But it is up to us to reinvent how we can be of service to the public. Lowe's CEO was just on Fox Business not too long ago saying that, hey, we have a lot of job openings right now. So that's what we need to look for. How can we provide help and service to the economy while we're struggling in this dire time right now and keep as many jobs as we can?
Scott, though, having said that, though, the simple fact of the matter is a lot of big businesses are cutting, furloughing now, with the hope that they'll maybe rehire later. I know we mentioned that about Steve Madden Shoes. It's looking at a significant number of layoffs just announced today. Gannett has been furloughing people, salary cuts among executive ranks. Cisco, the food distributor, is looking at its biggest curtailment in the workforce that it's ever seen. And on we go with the Macy's situation, what's going on at Bloomingdale's. You know, add all of those up. We're talking over 1 million workers who are likely to be furloughed, and it's very early on in the process. I'm just wondering why some of these companies, now some of them are not going to take advantage of loans that will turn into grants if they hang on to those people. But the fact of the matter is the big guys are getting out now and jettisoning workers now, with the hope that things will stabilize. But for those workers, they're not.
No, and it's everywhere, Neil. You talked about all the sectors and industries it's reaching to. And, you know, what kind of struck me, and this started happening about 2 or 3 weeks ago, was how quick these companies were to just cut everyone or cut 30% or cut 50%. I mean, it was just a flip of a switch. And so that, to me, told me one of two things. One, that they're, yes, getting prepared for the malaise that's coming down the road and hopefully going to rehire those folks and just get by the next 3 months and then come back. Or two, maybe their businesses weren't that strong to begin with because of the fact they were looking for this catalyst to get rid of some of the fluff that was in their workforce. So I think we've got to keep that in mind as we kind of come out of this thing, hopefully in the next 3 months or so, and that maybe, again, some of those jobs don't come back because maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Guys, I want to thank you both very, very much. By the way, as they were speaking,